All right. Always wanted my own entrance music. Give everybody a second to get in here and we make sure the volume is working. The volume is working. What is going on, everybody? I guess something good does come to going on later in the evening. I know I've been beat to the news by everybody, but some breaking news. TATE REEVES. We're just going to jump in hot here. TATE REEVES just announced that there's going to be an announcement. He made an announcement. They're going to make an announcement. That's so COVID. There's going to be an announcement tomorrow at his press conference concerning schools. You can go look at his Facebook post. I'm not going to read it. It's rather lengthy like everything else he posts. But it looks like, if I had to speculate, that they're probably going to send younger kids back to school in some capacity. And maybe older kids at high school, middle school, I'm guessing, are going to do distance learning. That's just me speculating. I don't want to tell y'all wrong, but it does look like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and all the COVID Karens out there have won, and we're not going to have high school. What that does for sports and all, I don't know. Again, just me speculating here. So let's start with Chokwe. Man, I've been making notes all day today. Antar says Jackson's situation is dire. Blames TATE REEVES for reopening the state on the COVID explosion, I guess we'll say. Meanwhile, Jackson just matched its deadliest month ever in July with April of this year. So the two deadliest months ever equaled, and both happened in 2020 in COVID. In the last 72 hours, well, this is about 6 hours ago, but we'll say in the last 80 hours, 13 people have been shot, 4 have been killed in Jackson. WLBT has a homicide tracker on their website. Pretty up to date. They say there's 67 homicides. And I've seen some other people report 66, so maybe there's one that we're not on the same page about, but 66, 67, 62 many. Since, let's see here. Since 2017, January 1st of 2017, Chokwe took office in July. But just since 2017 to right now, depending on if there's 66 or 67 homicides currently, we've had 297 or 298 homicides in less than 4 years. In three and a half years. Well, 3 years and 7 months. No, 3 years and 6 whole months. 3.5 years. Right at 300 homicides in Jackson. And that's just the ones that Jackson claims. So, man, that is strong. So the Jackson Jambalaya put some numbers together earlier. And per capita, and I know that you can take those numbers however you want, but they use it to manipulate the COVID numbers, so we'll do it with this. Jackson has a 15 times higher murder rate than Chicago. Per capita. Based on your chance to get killed when you get out in the streets. Man, if that don't tell you all something, that we need to do something immediately, I don't know what does. That's really, really sad. Really, really sad. I'm trying to look down in the comments just a little bit, make sure I'm not missing anything, but let's recap there. So the mayor says Jackson is in dire condition and that it's the governor's fault. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that won't argue that a lot of stuff's Tate's fault. But I don't think any of Jackson's shortcomings are Tate's fault. We're going to blame all this COVID stuff on the governor when Jackson is in the midst of its deadliest stretch in history over the last 4 years of recorded, not Wild Wild West Civil War history. Man, I'm just going to kind of run through this. I'm not going to be on here long tonight. I know y'all are probably wanting to watch the real 10 o'clock news, not the Save Jackson 10 o'clock news. But COVID-19 numbers right now. Today was, and we always know on Mondays the number comes down because of the way they report on the weekends. 578 new cases, 8 new deaths today. I made a note that said Dobbs, and I quote, "I think it's a good idea to delay schools." And that looks like what they're going to do according to the breaking news that just came across TATE REEVES' Facebook page. I just want to look at some numbers, kind of dig into the numbers a little bit here. There's been 61,125 positive tests. There's been 416,035 negative tests. So that puts us right at 480,000, 475,000 tests. That's a positive percentage of 12.8%. Deaths, 1,711. Death rate, 2.8%. Total deaths in ICU, 302. At least I guess that's what that total in ICU number is. Or is that how many we have in ICU currently? I'm not 100% sure. This is the WLBT coronavirus breakdown that they do. But the number, and long-term care facility deaths, 770. So this goes back to the school stuff, in my opinion. 18 to 59-year-old deaths combined, 286. 60 years old and up deaths, 1,452. That is a difference of 1,166 more deaths for people 60 and up. So I just don't, if we're just looking at kids' safety, I don't know how you don't send them back to school. But if we're looking at maybe them being potential spreaders and getting teachers and families sick, I don't know, man. That is really, really strong on the deaths of 60 and up. And then I just wanted to throw these in there just for a little food for thought. 90 years of age and older, 227 deaths. Then compare that to the 18 to 59-year-olds again, and it's 286. So 90 and up, 227, 18 to 59, 286 deaths. That's only a difference of 59 more deaths of the whole age group of 18 to 59 versus 90 and up at 286. It is not good to be elderly and catch this. So you can look at that however you want to. But according to WLBT still and the state health department, I'm guessing there's still been no reported deaths COVID related under 18. So thank God, right? There's some good news for us that no kids have died from COVID in Mississippi. So for all of our misgivings and being last and all the good stuff and first and all the bad stuff, at least we haven't lost any children. Knock on wood. So, man, that's a lot of elderly people in relation to the young folks. I'm going to read that again. 18 to 59-year-old total deaths, 286. 60 and up, 1,452. So here was another interesting number I ran across. Well, it looks like my wife's wanting to show me something here.
Read that one. I saw that today about Corinth.
Corinth schools had 3 cases in 1 week.
They've already shut it down.
Yeah, but they opened right back up, didn't they? Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, so Corinth schools was kind of a test pilot there. They were open a week and already had some cases, but I thought I'd read they had opened back up. So, yeah, Charlotte says, unfortunately, we're losing children to murders, not COVID. That is a sad reality. And that was what I was working my way down to here. July 2020 gun sales have been record-breaking. Now, these are United States numbers, not Mississippi, but across the United States, July 2020, these are licensed, permitted new gun sales. New gun sales that required a background check. 1,795,602 gun sales in July of 2020. Year over year, compared to July of 2019, that is a 133% increase in gun sales compared to July of 2019. So 1.795 million guns were sold with a background check in July in America. That is a 133% increase over last year. Jesus. That don't count the used ones. Surely I'd be willing to bet that more people horse trade and sell guns to each other used than probably from a gun store. I don't know. That's just me shooting from the hip here. No pun intended. So let's start back at the top a little bit here. Chokwe says the situation in Jackson is dire and blames it all on Tate Reeves for reopening the state too soon. Meanwhile, he doesn't mention the protests that went on in Jackson, the city-sponsored street ball tournament that went on that I haven't been a party promoter and a club owner and a concert promoter. I would say there was at least 1,000 people there. Not a whole lot of masks. Even the mayor commented that he was disappointed people didn't wear a mask. But a permit was issued by the city for this thing. Which I don't have a problem with. Y'all know where I stand on this. But don't sit there and issue stuff like this and allow stuff like that, then blame it on the governor and bars and this and that. That's just silly. That's making it political. He also doesn't mention that July and April were the deadliest months in the recorded history of the city, with the same exact murder numbers or homicide numbers. The last 72 hours, 13 shot, 4 killed. One of those was a son that killed his mother and his sister. Domestic violence is terrible, and I know that you can't necessarily prevent that. Say like robbery and stuff. I don't know, man. That's really bad. That's a whole family gone. You know, mother and sister dead, and son in jail forever. You have to wonder were there any warning signs there? You know, does it go back to our mental health or lack thereof in Mississippi, and what could have been done to maybe have caught that sooner and got him some help? Yeah, somebody's mentioned the national ammo shortage. Yeah, I haven't been able to find it. Now, I do know this is not a paid plug here. USA Pawn does have some ammo. At least the one at the McDowell Road Superstore did about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, you're not really able to get it in bulk so much, but they do have new ammo there at USA Pawn. I went to Bass Pro looking a couple weeks ago. They didn't have anything, not for my 40 or my 9. So, I don't know. Surely they're making more, but I guess there's a shortage on everything between COVID shutdowns and people buying everything they can get. Man, I'm going to tell you that. I'm just looking at these numbers. I usually come on here and just try to kind of freehand it a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I didn't misquote anything because these numbers are mind-boggling. I made a few more notes here. I want to thank Chad Wesley for coming on yesterday. We had a great time. You can go back and listen to the podcast or live stream or whatever you want to call it on the Facebook or the YouTube page. He did perform a couple songs. Oh, yeah. This was actually going to be the first thing I talked about, and just more important stuff was kind of lingering there. You know, I've really tried to kind of turn the attitude of this page around recently and be more positive and post positive stuff and really try to not just talk about it, but be about it when it comes to saving Jackson, or at least attempting to do better. And I commented on a buddy of mine's page today to offer to help him kind of set the record straight on something, and he wasn't interested. But this lady got on there and she was like, "Nobody wants anything to do with your page if you claim to be saving Jackson and all you do is tear it down." And I'm just like, man, being positive gets me nowhere. So I think that I'm just going to get back to doing what we used to do. And it was just go scorched earth on everything. And I feel like we got more done that way. So I don't know. I don't want to take one person's negative comments and make it, paint a broad brush with it. But it's discouraging when you're putting in a lot of effort to be positive and do the right thing, and somebody says some smart ass stuff like that. I just deleted it and moved on. I replied, and then I deleted it and was like, I ain't in the mood to argue today. So let's see, man. Let's jump in the comments here.
A lot of people are torn on what to do about school.
Well, I don't think we're going to have much choice, are we? If you're torn on school, I think the governor is going to make the decision for you. I'm not sure if that does the governor's orders directly affect Mississippi Private School Association?
Not that I'm aware of.
They will have to kind of make the same decision. And I've talked to some people that have kids in private school, and they seem pretty confident that private school is going on full speed ahead. I know that a couple JPS football players have transferred down to the private school in in Capita County, I believe. Somebody was telling me that today. About 9 of them, potentially. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I can't confirm that, but...
I replied that we're going to do online first semester and then go from there.
Yeah.
That's what we've decided so far.
So, parents, look, and I'm being facetious about not being positive anymore. I'm going to be. But it's just frustrating. So parents, what are y'all thinking, man? Are y'all gonna send your kid if you were given the choice? I know a lot of y'all got to work, man. What the hell y'all gonna do? I've heard about the education system's kind of moving to the black market a little bit. You're gonna have people teaching homeschool and basically running a daycare / school at their house. I've heard that certified teachers can do it with, say, up to 7 at their house. Now, granted, y'all don't hold me to this. I don't know all that to be fact. I'm just like a lot of y'all, man. I just kind of hear stuff throughout the day, but I'm busy working and I don't have time to just confirm everything. And hell, I don't know. If we got any teachers on here, are y'all allowed to teach from your house and basically run your own homeschool for a limited number of students? I find that interesting, and I'm not against it. What I don't want to see, is I just think our kids need to be taught. And we've got some great teachers in the state. And I think that, we probably got some lazy ones too that aren't really scared of this, but they're like, hey man, all these other scared teachers are pushing this agenda of stay home, stay home, stay home. But hey, if we can keep getting paid to stay home, by all means, we're not going to speak out against it. I guess that's human nature. I don't know if I can sit here and hate on somebody for it or not, but if teachers like nursing and it's a calling, I would think that call your ass to the school and start teaching. But I don't know. I work in retail, so I'm around people every day.
But why don't you tell them why I chose online for the first semester?
Yeah, so my wife chose online for her daughter for first semester because it felt like it was going to get shut down anyway.
She's in high school.
Yep, in high school, might as well already have your foot in the door instead of scrambling at the last minute to get laptops. That's the other thing, laptops. I'm speaking to JPS here because I know Rankin County supplies them. Can anybody confirm what JPS is actually doing? Are they giving laptops to their students? And let's say that one household has 3 or 4 kids. Would it be a waste of resources to give all 3 or 4 kids a laptop at one time? Or can they schedule it where they could share a laptop? Those are a lot of questions I have. I mean, because you're talking about, let's just say $1,000 for a laptop. Because I think most of them use Apple, right? Mm-hmm. So $1,000 for a laptop. If you can tweak the schedule some on these virtual classes or do it every other day, staggered schedules, what I'm trying to say. Versus, if you got one household with 3 or 4 kids, that's $4,000 in laptops, $3,000 or $4,000, where you could do a shared laptop, or maybe 2, one for every other kid. I think that's a fair assessment there. Then you could spread them out to more kids. I don't know. I'm not an elected official. I don't get paid to do this stuff. Let's see, man. I'm going to jump in the comments here. My wife's over there reading the comments too, so y'all kind of hear an echo here.
Well, a lot of people are just saying they're going to put their kids in school, period. Which Gracie wants to go to school. That would be her preferred.
Would you go answer the door? Yes. Sorry. Speaking of kids, I've got one that refuses to leave the house with her key. So we have to open the door for her every time she comes home. But let's see, man. I know I'm not being very exciting here. I really want y'all's input on this. A little engagement here. Let's see. I'm going to start reading some comments here. Tater Tot better be forking me out some child care money if they don't go back to school, at least 13 grand. Yeah, Nikki, I'm telling you, man. And then Constance, my daughter, online schedule is just like school, 7:30 to 2:30. So, there's got to be a better way. Now, I know a lot of people got computers, and there's going to be a lot of people just working that hustle to get a free computer. And then they're going to sell it and still use the other computer. We did it in college, or I know people that did it in college. I know a guy that runs a computer store down in Hattiesburg. People would get that laptop with that first grant, and they would run and sell it because they already had a laptop. I fully anticipate some full-blown hustle being some cottage industry coming out of free laptops if they end up providing them. Now, JPS got the most or the second most CARES money from the coronavirus stimulus bill. Now, I don't know what they've done with it. They hadn't been in school. I mean, I know they had to pay teachers, but they had to pay teachers anyway. Your property taxes and everything have still been due. So I don't know what they're doing with that CARES money, how that's being spent. Wouldn't this feel like a good thing to spend that on if we're going to... Well, hell, JPS has already come out and said they're not going, so it's irrelevant to what the governor says, I reckon. And they're not going all year or the first semester, either way. Then you got... If all the other public schools fall under that, man, we've got to get these kids in school. We're going to have these homicide numbers involving young kids, being left at home while their parents are at work, are going to shoot through the roof.
Hey, I'm just gonna light one more.
So, sorry. When you do this from home, you get family that pokes their head in the door and stuff. Ready for them. Now, see, here's another one. I've got a daughter who's going into junior college, and they're doing virtual learning first semester. So she missed her whole second half of her senior year. Had to do a drive-through graduation, no prom, none of that. And now first semester of college is going to be virtual. That's terrible. We've only been looking at it from the high school perspective because I'm really more concerned about the parents who aren't getting to work or having to scramble to figure out childcare. How old were you, or how old are your kids when you feel comfortable letting them stay at home by themselves? Like, you can leave the house and say, all right, do your work. Man, I wasn't responsible enough to be left at home by myself to do work till I was about 35 years old. There's no way I would have been able to stay at home by myself and do work. I'd have been in more trouble. Hell, I was in trouble anyway. But especially if I didn't have to get up and go to school every day. Man, Kimber says 30. Yeah. There's no way. I'd have burned it down, man. I almost burned the house down 3 or 4 times when I was younger anyway, learning how to fry inside the house. My mom was always working out of town. I decided I wanted to learn how to fry cheese sticks. I didn't know you just didn't turn the fryer up all the way. It was wild. Then I almost burned it down again outside. Yeah, almost burned the house down cooking outside. That's bad. But trial and error, man. I'm a good cook now. So back to the kid stuff. So a legal age 12, 13. However, you did see where the 14 and 15-year-olds were drag racing in the street today. Yeah, so that was another thing. I saw where Napoleon had just made right place, right time, or picked it up on the scanner or something, and some kids were drag racing through a neighborhood going like 80 miles an hour, and one of them ended up hitting a house. Yeah, these kids, I don't know if being in school would have made a nickel's worth of difference. Hell, school hadn't even started yet. But that's just the kind of stuff we get to look forward to. Is kids out raising hell. Idle hands is the devil's playground. I'm sorry if I'm kind of tripping on my words a little bit tonight. I'm tired. It was a long weekend. I'm off tomorrow, thank God. I just need a good night's rest. And it's just so much going on. It's just... It's brain damage. I always talk about living somewhere like in Jackson. It's like PTSD. You've lived here for so long and dealt with this garbage for so long that you forget how the other half lives. Like if I go out to Madison or Rankin County for something, I'm just blown away at the quality of life stuff and the crap they don't have to deal with. So, start back over here. I don't have this written down. I've actually got to say to my phone, but you can go to Jackson Jambalaya, and they ran some numbers, and per capita, Jackson, Mississippi has a 15 times higher murder rate than Chicago. Based on the amount of people that live here and the amount of murders that are happening, 15 times higher than Chicago. I'm not easily shook, but that really, I had to read it 3 times before I said it to make sure I was saying it right. 15 times. Now, I know we look at the Chicago stuff and just see the sheer real number, not per capita. But based on that, and based on, running around in Jackson, and you've got a 15 times more likely chance of becoming a murder statistic than you do in Chicago. Jesus. But Jackson's in dire straits because the governor opened the state up too soon. Man. So I'm going to run back through these numbers again here because we're getting people kind of coming in and out. 90 and up, 227 deaths from COVID. 18 to 59-year-olds, 286. Those numbers should really resonate with you guys. We have a whole lot more 18 to 59-year-olds than we do 90 and up. I don't have the census in front of me. I don't need it. That we know we have a whole lot more 18 to 59-year-olds. And basically only a 59 death difference in how many people have died from COVID. I think the moral to the story here is stay away from your grandparents if you're out and about. Stay away from your elderly parents if you're out and about. I still can't help but go back and think that instead of locking it all down like we did, if we had figured out a way to quarantine our elderly, if it's convert some hotels into emergency quarantine bubbles or something, for our high risk or elderly or multifamily household type parents, or move the kids out of the multifamily household, whatever it is. It feels like there had to be a better way. Let's see. Somebody says, I wish I had a huge house and a lot of internet. I would help with some kids. I think that's what you're going to see, man. The old saying, it takes a village to raise a kid. I think you're going to see a lot of villages helping. And we're so easy to sit here and bag on Jackson and stuff. The city makes it easy. The leadership, use the word loosely, make it really easy. But I think you're going to see a lot of people kind of band together in these neighborhoods and help each other out. I've heard people talk about, well, if Karen's good at math, Karen will help with the math on her days. If Susan's good at history, Susan will help with history. If Quita's good with science, she'll do science. So it just depends on kind of who's doing good, kind of in a neighborhood and kind of banding together. So, and somebody said, I think the heat has something to do with the crime. Absolutely, man. I've said that for years. I actually was talking to CJ LeMasters a few months ago when he came out with the April crime statistics and had figured out that it was the deadliest month in Jackson history. I said, well, I'd always had a theory that in the summer months it would be higher because I think the heat just pisses everybody off so much. You're short-tempered, you're sweating, you're mad. And the numbers don't show that. Now, maybe the overall crime numbers might, but I think that's got more to do with kids being out of school and having all the free time, which we're fixing to be going on a year of. I mean, y'all think about that. It's easy to sit there and say, well, we'll just go back in the spring. Like the spring is warm. The spring semester starts, the January 7th, 8th, whatever that second Monday in January is usually. Because the kids, they get a week out after New Year's. That's still slap dab in the middle of flu season. And to hear the professionals talk about all this stuff it's supposed to be its strongest during flu season. The heat was supposed to kill it. And here we are with our highest cases to date. So, because I know we took the kids to Memphis for the Post Malone concert the weekend going into spring break. And they ain't been back to school. Didn't have a graduation. Still ain't going back. Man, I'm telling you, these kids, and don't you think they need the social interaction? I mean, school's kind of set up the way it is. And we're visiting to really learn some things here. We're visiting to learn if we've been kind of bamboozled our whole lives thinking we needed school to set us up to learn how to get up and go to work every day. Or if a whole generation is going to miss a whole year a whole year. When is going to be because they're going to miss a whole year to 2 years of school, year and a half. So let's just say that worst case scenario that these kids don't go back until spring of 2021. Not spring, I'm sorry. Fall of 2021. That will be a whole year and a half out of school. I mean, you forget how to do a lot of stuff in a year and a half. It ain't like riding a bike. That's a scary thought, isn't it? Your kid being out of school a year and a half. I know some of you moms and dads, for that matter. That sounds like the worst case scenario, doesn't it? Having to be around your kids that much, on top of having to be a teacher. I mean, seriously, they're going to have to do something about the property tax, and the money that's going to education if they're not going to open up the damn school doors. And I know we're just speculating here, but it ain't looking good. And I think it's kind of crappy of TATE to tease a press conference tomorrow about this and write a diatribe on Facebook about it. I mean, damn it, just say it.
Nobody knows what to do. Whether to buy, school supplies and clothes and...
Yeah, what Crystal just said. I mean, people are torn. Like, do I buy school supplies? Do I buy clothes? Do I buy stuff to do it at home? And this is selfish here, but it's going to suck. All these kids at home using the internet all day. It's going to have the internet slow as hell everywhere. Usually you had your peak times in the evenings when people would get home from work and stuff. So if you were off or worked from home, you had plenty of internet, Wi-Fi stuff to use. Now, if you live in a neighborhood like I do, it's going to be hell getting good, strong internet, streaming and all that during the day. I mean, I work during the day, but I do get a day off here and there. My wife works from home. I mean, I'm just thinking the trickle-down effect here. Yeah, Constance, he does wait till the last minute. You know what it was? Like, Dr. Dobbs came out today and said, and I knew it. I told a buddy of mine, Johnny, at work. I said, that's it. Just wait. Somebody else said it, so now TATE can do it. Dobbs said, and I quote, "I think it's a good idea to delay schools." As soon as somebody else at the state level said it, that's affiliated, that's in his cabinet, whatever Dobbs is. I don't know if he's hired by TATE or how that works, but he's our highest ranking state doctor. So now he's got somebody else to say, well, Dobbs said it. Just damn tell us. Now you got people like me, big mouth, social media provocateur, just on here speculating to my 20,000 followers. Why would you even allow a vacuum, like somebody like me to create a vacuum to say these things? Just announce it and be done with it. News breaks all the time. You made a Facebook post, just say, look, tomorrow we're announcing this. We'll get you the details, but here's the gist of it. My buddy just texted me, said the Christmas tree bush has the cure to COVID. My wife put this together for me. And we needed some light in here. And now it's just...
Chad messed it up yesterday.
Now it's just become my version of Between Two Ferns. So, as out of place as it looks, it's here. It's going with me everywhere I go.
The burning bush.
Yeah, the burning bush. Yes, Constance says he never listens to Dobbs. It's like he never listens to anybody until they kind of give him the go-ahead to make the bad decision. You ever been... I always reference back to being in the bars because I haven't been in the business for so long. You ever see the people that go to a bar and get in a fight like, you want me to do it? You don't think I'll do it? Just tell me I won't do it. That feels what like TATE's doing with some of this stuff. Like, tell me I won't do it. You won't do it. Boom. It's like this weird reverse psychology with all of our lives that they're playing at these press conferences with work and school and everything else. Let's see. Christy says, I only work part-time. If anyone needs help with their kids, message me and we will work something out. You know, that's the stuff I really like seeing. You know, these comment sections really need to become a community. These pages like this, there's some other good ones on here locally. Yeah, become a community, man. I just kind of put it together, or we just put it together. You know, but y'all work with yourselves. You know, meet people. You're like-minded. You're following pages like Save Jackson. You're being positive. You know, you never know. I mean, I've met a lot of my really good friends on the, you know, through social media and through stuff like this. So, let's see. Here's one of my favorite commenters, Chris here, because I think the city of Jackson could take one of the many empty grocery store buildings and renovate it for a city morgue. Yeah, you know, that's something we talked about the other day, is why doesn't Jackson have a morgue? Surely it's got a morgue. It doesn't have a...
They do at the hospitals.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they do, but I'm not sure where they go beyond that.
I mean, if New York had to have refrigerated trucks, I can't believe we're discussing that on this page. Refrigerated mobile morgues and stuff. What in the hell are we doing? It's one thing to talk about schools and potholes and crime, but to sit here and talk about morgues and converting a shopping center into a morgue. I mean, I get that we got to do something, but man, just tells you where we're at to even have to have that conversation between COVID deaths, regular deaths, murders. I'm just disgusted with it. You know, the toxicity of this city and the crime and everything, it begins to take its toll on you. My buddy says, yeah, we met on MySpace 20 years ago. We did. MySpace. I was thinking back to the MySpace days. How y'all think MySpace would have held up during the COVID times? You've got mail. No, that was Gmail or Yahoo or whatever.
You could have added a song to your profile.
Yeah, you could have added a song to your profile depending on how your day went. Like, if you had a MySpace now, if you could add any song to your Facebook profile today, what would it be? Like right now, if you could add a song, what would it be? That's funny. You know, Facebook has started a thing a while back where you could add a song to your Facebook profile. I added one to mine, and then it just kind of disappeared. I guess we're past that. You know, nobody shares music on Facebook anymore. When white girls couldn't quote rap lyrics anymore without being called racist, I guess they decided just to quit posting music on social media.
Did you ever bring up about the booze fairies and the Chinese?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So y'all remember me talking about the booze fairy stuff a few weeks ago? Well. And then we had the Chinese death seeds being shipped to everybody from China for no reason. So we figured out what it is. If you gave the booze fairy your address on social media, I bet you got seeds from China. The booze fairy. That's good. I forgot about that. That's actually one of the silliest things that I've seen happen. That's the most 2020 thing, all 2020. The women putting their addresses on social media. It's like, no, it's okay. It's a private group with 10,000 people in it. Heard of fake profiles much? God. I mean, if I'm seeing screenshots of it, I know some weirdos are. All right, so let's get back here, man. If you had a MySpace today, and if you could add a song to your Facebook profile that just automatically started playing whenever people got on, what would it be? I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. I listen to so much talk radio and stuff now that I can't even think of music. It wouldn't be nothing new. I know that. Maybe some old One Less Reason or some old rap, some Master P or something like that. I don't know. I had to go back and look on my MySpace and see what I was feeling then. Skillet saved me. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, this isn't my opinion, but I bet nationally, F the police would be a really big one with all the stuff that went on this summer. Let's see. Steven says crime rate has done nothing but go up by generations. Look at crime we have now and think how bad it will be when this generation in 10 years with kids having zero structure being out of school. Yeah, Steven, that's a great point. That's kind of, you worded it way more eloquent than I could. I think we're going to look back and you'll be able to look at this weird space in history, assuming we make it 10 years from now. You're going to look, and we get some kind of reset here. You're going to look back and you're going to say, man, this generation, class of 2020, 2021, especially the ones that didn't get to, like say your 9th and 10th graders, they're missing a really big chunk of important stuff. So that I guess they'd be class of 22, 23. And then, class of 2020, they were just mildly affected by having to miss their last semester of school. But 11th grade going into 12th, so on and so forth. These cats that are missing a lot of school, a lot of that structure. You made it, structure is the best word there. You're going to see a really negative impact down the road here. And I've been saying for years, though, I wonder what it would be like if, to save a lot of money, you're going to see a lot more of this work from home stuff. I don't have the kind of job you work from home, and I don't think a lot of people in Mississippi do. But, nationally, you're going to see a big drop in office space. I think these big companies, especially customer service workers and customer retention type stuff, anything that you can do in a cubicle, you can do at home. With Zoom and all that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to the real estate market. How many, I know traffic has not been nearly as bad for me going to work every day. But I think that's got more to do with school being out and downtown Jackson basically being closed for a few months with all the state and local government stuff down there. So I don't know. Let's see here. Stephen, thank you for that comment. That was a great one. Judy says the REM song "Into the World as We Know It." Absolutely. That song never gets old. Nicole says "Crookedness." I'm not familiar with that one. Christy Monroe, God bless the USA. Can you ever go wrong with some Lee Greenwood? Chris says also they wanted kids to go back to school, but will ask parents to buy things on a 25-item school supply list along with paper towels. And yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad you brought that up, Chris. Ain't that something else? I bet teachers still making their little. But don't people like create these little Amazon wish lists now? I bet teachers have like little Amazon wish lists. Like, think of your teachers. Here's my Cash App. Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Corey, Hank Williams, Mr. Lincoln. Yeah. Now, Hank Williams or Hank Williams Jr., you can't go wrong in times like this. Was like the red, white, and blue collar, redneck and blue collar blues. I can't remember the title off the top of my head. It's a play on words, but it's very true. Right now, just blue collar blues. Look, man, I'm just rambling here. I've been wanting to talk to you guys all day. We had Chad on last night and ended up talking for 3 hours. One thing I've learned is, when we sit there and we drink on the air and we do shots, and the conversation just progressively goes downhill. And my voice gets higher pitched. All right, so y'all be sure to join our group on Facebook, Jackson Uncensored, JXN Uncensored. It's a great place for you guys to be able to post your own stuff and create your own conversation if you're not already in there. We do have to approve posts. We try to keep it local as possible, and we try to keep down on duplicate posts. So join Jackson Uncensored, a great message board pretty much. Let's see. If you want to, you can become a Save Jackson supporter. Should be an option under this video at some point to become a supporter. Geyser Falls. So Geyser Falls made an announcement today that said they're going to be closed for the summer. Well, hell, it's already August. Of course, you closed for the summer. You ain't been open yet. I wouldn't expect you to open now. Hell, even a mild Corona truther like myself. Yeah, I don't know. You getting in the water and with 1,000 other people. I don't like doing that anyway. But I definitely wouldn't do it at Geyser Falls if I was just like the least bit skeptical about possibly getting sick. And not just Geyser Falls, but any water park. So, Christian says, I have, it sucks. I donate school supplies every year. Just kind of reading the comments here. Always had to buy paper, towels, sanitizers, soap zips. All right. Not going to get into all the comments. I'm starting at the bottom, reading up ain't the way to do it. So, again, in closing, because I just feel like this is really worth driving home here. Chokwe says the situation in Jackson is dire and it's Tate Reeves' fault before reopening the state. Never mind what people are going to do for money. I mean, people have to work. I mean, this is just it's a bad situation, but you got to work. I mean, you got to make money. Otherwise, you just sit at home and lose everything. I had a guy get all sideways with me on Instagram the other day about this. He's like, you just want to work and make money. Well, I don't really want to work necessarily. I don't think anybody really just loves going to work. But I like having a job, and I like being able to pay my bills. So, yeah, I do. I want to go and work. I mean, I think that's like the meanest, nicest thing anybody's ever said about me. You just want to go to work and make money. Yeah, I do. Thank you. I worked very hard to have such great things said about me. Anyway, so Jackson's in dire condition. It's the governor's fault, according to Chokwe. Meanwhile, doesn't mention anything to do with city-sponsored events that could possibly help spread COVID. Doesn't mention Jackson, April and July tying for the deadliest months in the history of the state all this year. Doesn't mention the 13 people shot and 4 killed in the last 72 hours. Doesn't mention that we've got right at 6, depending on the number you believe, 66 or 67 homicides to date this year. We're at 297 homicides. Let's just round it up to 300. Right at 300 homicides since January 1st, 2017. At this pace, we're halfway through the year with 66, 67. You're probably going to have another 60. I mean, I hope we have 0. So that's going to put you at over 350, 360 homicides in Chokwe's term here. I haven't dug back historically, but I believe that this is the deadliest 4-year span in the history of the state, or at least it will be by the time that 2020 is over with. So just remember these things. You know, when you have a out-of-control police department, underfunded, all that good stuff. Tate's going to make an announcement tomorrow about schools, and I promise to not be so boring when I do the Save Jackson Live or Jackson, whatever the hell we call this thing. When I go live tomorrow night, I have been off all day and be able to kind of hit the reset button a little bit. And who knows? I will probably go live 10 more times tomorrow. When news breaks, we break with it, as Ron Burgundy would say. So y'all have a great night. If anybody knows anything about the JPS laptop situation, let us know. I mean, I've read a million different things. Nobody can seem to tell me the exact answer. Is JPS going to supply laptops to their kids? So if you have a kid in JPS, just hit me up. Would like to know. Working on a big interview for this upcoming weekend. Got to work out Saturday or Sunday. It's going to be a follow-up. So once I can lock that down, I'll let y'all know. We're going to try to do this every Sunday here at the house. Me and Napoleon decided to forego doing the radio show on Sundays. It's just a lot. You know, that guy does 2 radio shows a day. You know, he needs some time with his family. I work 5 to 6 days a week. I just want to be at home on Sunday. So it's easier for me to kind of program it from the house. You know, have somebody come over here. I can do a lot of stuff. I can cook. I can get ready for the week. and carve out a little time without having to drive across town and back. So we wish Napoleon and WPBQ nothing but the best. Again, just logistically, getting across town every Sunday after you work 6 days a week is just tough. Family time, I think right now is more important than anything. So that's what we're going to do and try to kind of do it here at the house. So y'all take care. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great night. If y'all got any questions, hit me up. And I do get y'all's inbox messages. I don't want y'all to think I ignore them. What happens is I'm at work and I get them, and I know I drag on getting back to the Save Jackson inbox. People send me videos. I'm having a hard time getting those to download. I'm supposed to be a technology guy, and I'm having hell with it here lately, but I promise I'm working on everything. I haven't forgot you. I have a chance to breathe tomorrow, and I plan on catching up on a bunch of Save Jackson related stuff. So y'all have a great night and stay safe.